All right, Hollis, we're back for NFL Week 5. And, pre-discussion of our videos, we have a little chat before we jump in live. And I kind of was talking to you about bringing back an old hit. We did videos with John Cratton in 2014 and 2015 down there in downtown Las Vegas. And it kind of came out of the blue. I remember when you talked about it in 2014, and it's very, very true. In the NFL, the toughest sport to bet on a week-to-week basis, there is one adage that will work even if you're getting one or two winners a week, but there's always that one or two games that is a very sick line, and it makes you want to barf when you go to the ticket window. Trust me, I've been there. When I'm thinking about putting a wager in, I'm hesitant. And your best thing that you said then was if you want to just run up to the book ticket window and you feel good about it, you're not going to win. But if you're hesitant and you're just sick to your stomach, that bet is going to make you want to throw up beforehand, during the game, probably a week later when you think about it. Even when you cash your ticket, you'll be thinking, I shouldn't have got this money. But you win that bet, and those are the best bets. I love those bets in the NFL. I think I was laughing hysterically the whole videos in 2014 and 2015. But I'd love for you to explain, before we get into our NFL game for this week, our free play or video discussion, whatever you want to call it, let's hear you discuss that again. And I think we might bring this back weekly.
Well, Zach, I think I play it all the time anyway. The problem is when I used to be a novice, it used to really, really work because, I was probably playing a few more favorites, and you would always find some team. I remember when Tampa Bay, all of a sudden they were not very good, and they're going up to Chicago, and they're only getting 2 points or something. And I'm like, Chicago laying 2 at home, and it's cold. Oh, my God, this has got to be the greatest game in the world. And you know what? The right side would have been Tampa Bay getting +2 on the road up north where they never win, because that's a team that's going to just make you want to throw up to have to bet it. And if it looks too easy where you want to call all your friends and all your buddies and it feels so good, and then next thing you know, you're calling everybody up and say, hey, wow, the Bears are only 2. I'm telling you, you're on the wrong side. If it makes you sick to make that bet, to push that hard-earned money across the counter, then you are on the right side. Now, keep in mind, this only works in the NFL, not in college. But in the NFL, if it makes you throw up, want to get sick all over the counter, you are on the right side. Warm and fuzzy will not win the game in the NFL. Now, Zach, this week I found one, let's just call it our throw up play or something like that. Our barf, the barf from the barf bag. How about that? Barnhart's barf bag. There's one there, the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, come on. They have nothing. They have no running back. They got an old man throwing the ball with Palmer. Their defense is playing, all right. So what do? They shut down San Francisco. But you know what? Not that great of a road team. They're going across the country, playing in an early time slot. They're playing at home against the Eagles. The Eagles just flew across country, got a miracle win against San Diego, or the Chargers. And they're all pumped up. Well, 6.5. Let me put it this way. Let's say that Philly scores first. Not bad. They can do that, 7-0. That means you only have to play the rest of the game even for all 3.5 quarters even. Wow, that looks like the easiest play in the world. Couple field goals here and there. You buy the half a point. You're on a push. I mean, there's no way you can lose this game, can you? So sick to play the Arizona Cardinals. Even though I'm getting 6.5 points, I'm telling you right now, I do not want to do it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to bet Arizona Cardinals plus the 6.5. So that's the play. And there's always 1 or 2 out there. So start practicing that yourself. When you run down the lines, make sure it makes you want to throw up. And if it does, whether you play it the first week or 2, start monitoring it. You're going to be on the right side. You'll be on the right side with the Sharpies. The warm and public, or the warm and fuzzy public. Wow, the cow laying 1. Okay. So let's get into Buffalo-Cincinnati game, Zach.
Good.
Buffalo, wow, they're on the road last week, and they get the straight-up win. Carolina kind of makes you sick to go in and have to throwing 3 touchdown passes the week before in New Orleans, and all of a sudden that kind of makes you have to get sick to play Carolina. There's 2 winners right there. Buffalo at Atlanta, Carolina in New England. They knocked off the top 2 teams in the NFL. or maybe two of the top three. Let's don't forget about Kansas City. But Buffalo, they're 3-1, 4-0 against the spread. That thing, how long can you cover a spread in the NFL? Well, what happens is, contrarian, all the laymen, they'll sit there and say, well, they're due to lose. Don't bet on the due theory. The bookmakers already know that thing's out there. Which, Zach, I know you're pretty good at these over and unders, more so than I am. But I just wanted to mention this, and if you have something to comment on later, go ahead. But in this day and age of the passing era, you usually don't see too many over and unders in the 30s. And this one is at 38.5. So you might want to touch base on that. The Bills, like I said, they're coming off a real solid 23-17 road win over the Falcons. The Bengals, what did they do? They broke out with a huge blowout win over Cleveland, 31-7. So, who knows? The Bills recorded a 16-12 win in Cincinnati last season, and we'll see what happens this week. I got the Bills running game is just absolutely, running up a storm. LaShawn McCoy, he leads the way last week with, 76 yards on 20 carries last week. He's having another strong season, 216 yards, plus 163 receiving yards. So I love these dual threat quarterbacks. That kind of opens it up for Tyrod. Tight end Charles Clay, he's being a force. He grabbed last week. He had 5 receptions for 112 yards. So you've got the tight end, you've got a dual threat back, you've got Tyrod who can run and pass. And then that's not even their strength. Their strength is their defense. Their defense is absolutely incredible. Matt Ryan to 242 yards passing and forced him to throw 2 interceptions with all these rushes. You got, Preston Brown, E.J. Gaines, cornerback, Micah Hyde, a strong safety, all putting out. They took a full advantage. And here's another thing I wanted to remark. A lot of teams, when you hear somebody like Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu's not going to play or they're injured or things like that, a lot of people lighten up. No, they went out and took advantage of that like a championship team would do. And that was one thing I was really proud of them for doing. They lead the AFC East at 3-1, and I think this is the time to pull forward because who knows? Maybe by the time we talk, New England added another loss. I don't know. They're playing tonight. But, you can't discount Dalton. He finally came out of his little slump. A.J. Green, he had 5 grabs, so he's not complaining anymore. Their running game, though, not so good. This Joe Mixon, the rookie, he had 29 yards on 17 carries. I mean, you can't average 2.2 yards a carry in the NFL and do anything for the season. So some of the couple trends, not that I'm a trend guy, but I look at them, 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games in Cincinnati, 4-0, like I said, in their this year for against the spread. And the underdog in this series is 7-1 in the last 8 meetings between the Bills and the Bengals. So the key to this game is the Bills defense ranks number 1 in the NFL, allowing only 13.5 yards per game. Boy, as inconsistent as Dalton and the running game and the Bengals are, and who knows if there's chaos. You just had Marvin what's Marvin's
Lewis.
Marvin Lewis. He just fired his offensive coordinator kind of to deflect. I think he's under a lot of pressure to get to the playoffs, and at 1-3 going into week 5, you almost have no shot to get into the playoffs. So I don't know when they start throwing helmets at themselves inside the locker rooms and start blaming everybody, because you know what, they're not that good at defense, they're not that good at offense. Maybe don't get fooled because Dalton had a great game against Cleveland last week. But I'm going to go all out. This is not a warm and fuzzy game either. You're on the road, but I'm going to take the 3 points with Buffalo.
We're going to agree on that. I mean, it's just a analysis pick here on the Buffalo Bills. Probably won't even touch my board. But this is what I like about this. One, the Cincinnati Bengals, if you look back the last 2-3 years, obviously they overachieved a couple of years ago. And last year the market was shaky around them, but still solid. This year, you can throw out the book. The public, the sharps, everyone's been wrong about them on a weekly basis. Against Houston, Thursday night game, that line went up. They got slaughtered. Against Baltimore, week 1, line moved in their favor. They got slaughtered. Last week against the Browns, line moved against them when people thought it wasn't going to go in their favor. They got slaughtered again, people that didn't back Cincinnati. And now this week, you got a line move from 1 to 3, and it's going to continue. People are going to get slaughtered. Buffalo Bills obviously beat the Atlanta Falcons last week. They beat the Denver Broncos the week before that, and they looked horrible against the Carolina Panthers. They played a tough schedule. That's true. They play sloppy and won. That's true. But what I like about the Buffalo Bills, basically you're looking at 2 things here that's created that line move. Buffalo's road continuation on the road. They've looked sloppy in their wins. Cincinnati has momentum with 1 win, and all of a sudden they can get back closer to 500 if they get this win and get to 2 and 3. They're a veteran team, yada, yada, yada. But I like this Buffalo Bills team for one reason. They have a new head coach, and he's just playing within the game for 4 quarters. They're going to win this game in the fourth quarter, or they're going to cover in the fourth quarter. That's how it's going to work out. And I'll tell you this, Hollis, before I let you go. Every year there's a new head coach that brings in his system in the NFL. It's like having a new quarterback. New quarterbacks, it takes, 4 to 6 weeks to adjust before they hit that wall because defenses are going to adjust. It's the same thing with new head coaches. You get probably 1 out of 4, this new Bills head coach, and it's working. This is going to be their 5th game, and people are still not on the Bills properly. But it's probably only 1 more week that this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden it'll flip.
That's Sean McDermott you're talking about for the Buffalo Bills. Excellent coach. And, I think it will be a low-scoring game. I do think that playing the second game on the road in a row, that always hinders, a team. It's tough to play 2 games and win 2 games in a row on the road. And, one other thing, since we were generous giving a little tip on that barf bag from Barnhart, I don't think I want to coin that phrase because if I ever have a loser, they'll want to throw that in there also. But, another thing, too, here's another little handicapping tip from, 35 years I've been doing this. When the lines open up only in the NFL, if a line opens up 5, you know what that tells you? That tells you the bookies don't really know which way to make the line because the key numbers are 4 and 6. This is one of the few times you go with the line movement. So if it opens up at 5 and it moves to 6 or 5.5 or 6, go ahead and lay the points. If that line comes down from 5 to 4.5, you go ahead and take the points. So that's another one of those little tips that you'll get as you follow Zack and Harvard. And if you want more following, I just put this up because we're not fancy here. JB Plays LV6 at gmail.com. Write that down. I answer all the emails, so give me a holler and we'll make you some dollar. I guess that's how they say it. So, where can they find you, Zack? Anywhere?
Same thing on Twitter at Cimini, or just go to my website, notjustagame.com, and send me a text via the superphone.
Okay, and good luck to everybody on week 5, and we'll see you for week 6. Thank you.